So, the shooting is going on. All right. Good afternoon again. Today is another video about the battery. I filled it with water here too. I was told that a lot of water went here. I demonstrate that a little water went there. Here. Well, I don't know, it's been standing here for a while. Here I wanted to cut it today, probably I will do it now. But in the beginning, I will try to charge it again. I don't know. It will turn out a little bit with this charging. Well, I'm putting it on the charger. I have 14.5 volts, 0 to amperes exposed there. I'll show you now. That's how this charging goes. So that is, we turn it off. Well, it can be seen that it is rising very quickly. This tension, this indicates about. Well, the expired resource, let's say the battery. The developed resource. But it's understandable, he worked for 7 years. So despite the fact that. But I'm going to check it again a second time. Well, it was clear that the water does not cut out from there. That is, it says that the electrolyte fills there. Well, I do not know, it's probably unreasonable, and maybe reasonable. Write in the comments. I think it's the worst to fill in a spa, because during operation, even with what dried up there, it got soaked with this water. Distilled, therefore, like this. Well, you see 13 and 14. I'll probably leave this case for a while. That's just I'll probably put a little more current, at least half an ampere. Well, you see 14 and 5 volts at once. That is, the current was immediately limited. In other words, it has reached the upper limit. Here it instantly reached the upper limit, and 0.14, well, the voltage 14 and 5 became, the outflow 0.12. Here I received an offer. Reverse polarity is the key. Of course, you can turn it into reverse polarity. Now I'm going to charge it for an hour. I'll try to turn it on, of course, to demonstrate that this is complete nonsense. Here I do not know whether this word is offensive, complete nonsense or not, but you can say chutzpah. This is a complete chutzpah to turn on the battery in reverse polarity on a charge. It will not recover anything, it seems to me, but it will simply lead to the complete degradation of this battery. Well, although I don't know what to degrade here anymore. See, I turn it off, it's instantaneous. That's 11, 12 volts, that's all. That is the end. Well, anyway, leaving it for a while. So, continuing shooting. Well, you can look at 15 mA 0 to watt-hours, both 0 and 15 mA have gone here. Somehow it felt so strange. Here. That is, I will put it on the discharge machine now and take a look. All of this. Well, it turned out. Well, most likely nothing came of it, but yes, I know that it is necessary to redo the connector here in the discharge machine. He's here. It fell apart altogether. This is me lithium, and it discharged a powerful one. So here I'll cover it with my hand a little bit, so we'll see. I'm launching it. By the way, it works at 1 ampere. Already an amazing battery. It can be seen that he stood a little bit, it's at 2 amperes. Yes, it does not immediately fly out, it stood for a little while, and it gives away some capacity. You see, there are 6 to 7 mAh here. Well, let's try to put 3 amperes. Probably 3. Insert it. Here are 3 amperes, he doesn't hold everything anymore. So we put 2 amps, we continue. Well, that's it, and it doesn't hold 2 amps anymore. That is, that he is here 10 milliampere clock strike. Yes. 1 watt-hour dropped out. Well, I see. You can take it with a calm soul, and saw it already. So, well, I don't know how reasonable that is. I put it in a bandsaw. Here. Something I'm afraid it's going to pour down here, it's all this business down. So, and then you have to clean it up for a long and tedious time. Maybe I'll put some more bag in now. So, I planted a bag, but I'll try to saw it off. What will it turn out to be, or will it only spoil everything as always? Well, I know how to spoil it. Well, at least now it looks good. I'll push her a little bit. Then it will be necessary to wipe this file. My God, this acid is terrible. The file is not new anymore. It is possible to rearrange another one for such nastiness. It drips there a little bit, but not much. But he went. The smell went for the floor. It was possible to put something else under the bottom here, that's all, and no further. The comedy was sawn off. That's sawn off. Oh, that's what we have. Oh. I'm going to pour it into the toilet, and we'll continue. So, after this outrage, I had to lubricate the ribbon with oil. Here. I took this old towel, and wiped everything like that. That is, well, it's more fun than using a hand saw, of course, and smoothing everything around, but also not very much. So, I continue it all. This mess. So those rubber bands are here. I have the caps. That's what it is. That's what it turns out to be. That is, there are these so-called bridges on the lid, which are very well sawn off. That is, in principle, this is all taken out quite easily. This is the kind of technology that is interesting for these batteries production. As far as I understand, there are some parts here. Here are some lead for some reason. You can probably delete them in some way. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Here I'll try to take it all out carefully. It should, in theory, be taken out by a bunch of videos, where it's all very easy to take out. Well, we know how people make these videos. Here's the 000 mast here. You can look at the BB battery. How much is here? What's inside here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, there's a lot of floor walls here, guys. Oh. Something you have a beast. It's cracked. And everything got dirty, and we take it out a little bit. It's all to take out, you need to have health. I do not know, these people are Atlantans of some kind. Well, I don't know, I erased the video, but they take it out so easily. Tell us in the comments. That's for me. What secret is there? Oh. Still here. That I like the way they do it in wool gloves. Because the hands are in acid, of course, it's just hanging. Well, that's so fucking. Here is such a palinochka in these women, interesting, you can see. Oh, how this cell in bobble looks. That's how the separator is taken out. There's stuff here. Everything inside. Well, that's why BB, and they work for a long time. So look what's here. I'm interested in how many plates there are actually. 1, 2, Well, since those lead ones are meant. 1, 2 third plate. The third, fourth and fifth. That's it, guys. 5 plates. Those videos that I saw with 2 and 3 plates, it's just very sad. And here are 5 BB records. Here is such a 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why they are good and work for a very long time. Here. I am now a logic power. My colleagues from Odessa have fitted me. Why bravo? Because they picked up on the capacity, as it were. Here I was told on the phone. Oh, you. Nothing is taken out here, by the way. So understand. Here it comes out. And the last bastard doesn't want to get out. It's hard. But still we are. I admire these people who took it all out so easily. Here, but I couldn't. You see, the last one is just going to be now, not like a crash mock, go out in chunks. I don't want to spoil the knife. That's how he is. How to take it out. Is it interesting? Interesting. There's a piece of lead here. It's probably going to be pulled today. That's it. Yes, I'll throw it in the trash first. Damn, you're a master. Then I'll think about how to cut. So I keep going on. So I have only one part left that needs to be pulled out. It's unclear how to pull it out. See. I don't want to spoil the knife, anyway. Well, how to pull it out? There's nothing. Press it somehow, and I'll break the lid now it is. Have you already broken it? No, I haven't broken it yet. Well, it was possible to break it. Oh, there's still a piece of battery left. Have I pulled everything out? Yes, it seems to have pulled everything out, but like this. I'm going to shook an old knife. So, I found an old knife. Oh my God. Carpathian knife. Once we went to the Carpathians, it was possible to travel in our country. Now we don't have much here. There's a war going on, you know. Like this. Look at how it climbs out terribly now. In other words, it makes sense to cut not along this line, but slightly above it. That is, not along this line, but somewhere probably like this. Damn, it would be like this probably got drunk. Here, well, this. I haven't disassembled them for a long time. I used to take them apart. Here. I remember that this pleasure does not particularly bring. You can try it by the method of the thing. Of course it's all this so well, you see it's all, but it turns out terribly like. The last cell didn't come out very well, it turned out to be some kind of nightmare. Why is that? Bad luck. I don't know, maybe they forgot to give these BB tapes here. I don't really see this film around the edges here. They are a film. I don't know. Threw up something there. Pull out in chunks. You see how terribly it goes, I don't know what it is, what does it mean? Write in the comments why one did not go well, one package did not come out. Most interesting already. These ones. Everything climbs out terribly. It's just a nightmare. Oh well, as an alternative, you can buy a ready-made housing in China, of course. They want to pay something there. About $5 for it. I will try to give a link to AliExpress in the comments. Well, I'm thrifty, you see. There is still need to think about what to do with it. How so? That's how it can come out. Yeah, it's coming out. Actually, by the way, that's it. The film here is all this. Oh, the viper climbs out. He's coming. Oh, it came out. Happiness is everything. Well, that's the kind of nightmare that's happening on my desk now. Here's the productive part of this mess. Here are all the caps left here. I'm going to wash it and throw it away. You can also clean up everything from the table. Here. Well, I'll be back for the shoot. Oh, the camera left a little later. I don't know how it was seen there. Well, as you can see, I'm sorry. And I think, more precisely, this is to be. So, I will continue. So that's what came out at the exit. Lid 1, lid 2. This is generally unproductive, somehow it will not be used here. That would be given to cut it all down, of course. Well, first of all, I'll figure it out. What happens here? It turns out like this. That is, you see. Unfortunately, it turns out 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 batteries. That's how you can harden. Yeah. Will it turn out to be 3? 3. Well, in principle it turns out. 3 by 4 is 12. But in fact, as far as I know, there are 15 pieces climbing in here. Because I know. Therefore, there are questions about the need for these partitions. Do you understand? Here. And this partition will be cut down by this, and his story will be, well, thank God I have this salt machine, then I wove it. Who doesn't? It's hard here. And probably I'm with a ciliationist, too. Here I'm going to try to pick up all these interesting places. I don't know, it's so cut down for under the face. And then, in my opinion, it's some kind of epoxy. Whatever. Here with some. It's attached here with some kind of epoxy. Well, yes, with epoxy. That is, they collected more upside down. You see the epoxy here. That is, it needs to be sawed off and bitten off like this. I take it forward. So I continue to disassemble. Without an oscillatory saw, it's hard to disassemble it. These partitions are especially difficult to dig out. I don't know how you will do it, but I did it somehow. So, it would also need to be filed here. See, the nail file is short. For this thing, you need a saw that's another centimeter or 2 in length. And then, there will be just the ecstasy of disassembly. And without a long saw, nothing will work. Well, it's probably necessary to get it all out as much as possible. This is this whole plastic of good quality, of course. That's where I cooked this whole box a little bit for some reason. I went a little deeper with the saw. I'm going to trim it a little bit now, of course, somehow. More or less succeeded. Something has succeeded. Somehow, somewhere, I managed to dig it out. Ah, somehow, somewhere. I don't know how much quality it will interfere with. Well, you see what has formed with plastic in our country. There is also an upper lid with which you also need to do something. I'll just probably sort it out like that too. There's some kind of epoxy here. Yes. I don't know how it will work out with this epoxy, but well, the extreme ones do not need to be touched, there they will go under soldering. Here, in principle, are these parts. Here you can take a little extra, but leave the main thing. Here. Because these are the contacts of the actual battery will be. Well, they can be used. There is no need to invent anything. So, and it will be very difficult to break it down. By the way, and is it even necessary? We need to think about it. Because in fact, the batteries get up here, and they don't interfere with anything. Well, we are trying to put some batteries in a row. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, that is, they stand here well in a row. Here, 6. I think they will be 8 by 3 somewhere in a row. So, and what do I see? I have a big problem with batteries, of course. And especially there are. Therefore, I will do what I have. Here. And maybe this video will be continued through. Well, you see, there's clearly more to it. Well, no. 7. 7 batteries. 7 by 3. And here, the BMS fee rises. Somewhere like this. That is, in principle, 21 things do not get up. I don't know about 24, but 21 definitely gets up. And this is the main thing, this all does not interfere especially. These are the remaining partitions. Well, it gets in the way a little bit. Although you see how she is. That is, in principle, it will be necessary to clean up this whole thing. This whole thing, this is all the fear of the mind. Here. Well, and think about it, so that somewhere to invent a long saw for stylization, or buy from a Chinese. Or maybe I have some in the kit, I forgot. Well, because it's short of course. Tiny. And the head itself, you see, does not allow you to climb here normally. Even if the head is turned over, it is. That's how she will climb normally. So, the owl is here. No. That's it. Well, this one needs a lid somehow. To fight with her. Here. There's probably, well, everything that can be dismantled. Here. And what will fail? Well, you'll have to leave it. Here. Well, as it does not break out anything really. Yes. I'm dismantling this case a little bit. Well, it won't come out much, as you can see already. That is, in principle, of course, it is possible to cover this and, damn it, it wasn't much to play with. Because it's here anyway. She doesn't play any role. The lid. This, in fact, only needs to be glued here. Here. But all of this could probably be shot in the side like this. It's just that there's going to be dust here. You can shoot it in the side. Especially, I don't see the point in it. Apart from the dirt of breeding, nothing good is likely to come out of this. That's it. Well, okay, I've already started. I'll try to dismantle this whole thing here. It's just really interesting how it will come out. You see, it doesn't particularly want to break off. The point of this breaking off is to reduce the weight, of course. Well, these here. You see, it's already broken off this thing. There are small pieces of lead. That is, in principle, there is something a little easier to fight for. That is, in principle, it can be removed if there is a desire. Oh, take it off. See. Everything here, it all goes away, so leadenness is not needed by anyone. So there are already a lot of these transition contacts for pieces. You can take it off. That was the idea. In fact, there is nothing easy here. In this job. That is, if you take it, I do not know, without oscillation. You can try a drill somehow. Fucking probably. I don't know. Even about the drill, I'm without lifting. So, there are still interesting people who are melting it all down. As they say, the strength of their legs. Of course, I just didn't want to study at my place. So I won't even. Although if there was any place for a smelter, I would do it. Maybe. Exclusively for research purposes. Because I don't see any sense in such business processing. Yes. And then there's the extreme one. This is the extreme contact that will be hard to take away. That's right. For those who think that power is like an easy material to work with. The plastic has a very good hardness. Sometimes everything flew out. I don't want this lead to be anywhere near at all. That's why I'm trying so hard. I broke it a little bit, well, it became a little easier. So there's more. I don't know, look, do you want such fun? It's just better to buy this Chinese case. That's it. That's it. Here, here. Now we need to figure out how it will get up. It will not get up. I've been sawing around here somewhere. That's how much I've been piling this whole thing. Now, I don't know how I saw it, like this or like that. Most likely, just a little bit here. The nail file is certainly not perfect, you see, it made an incision. She shifted a little. Well, basically. I don't see anything deadly here. I think that if we process it a little bit here, it will be possible to seal up the whole thing calmly even. Here's a little bit of processing required. Therefore, I'm going to cut this case a little bit more at the same time, so that I won't play around later. Most likely, oblo matters here. When it crashed, it floated a little bit. This. It's all stuck with Delorothan, as it should have been. Well, it can be seen that it is. It can be seen that it will be here. And here it is a little bit. That's all the elements of life will interfere, of course. That's it. That's it. Figuring it out. Well, you see, it has become a little something hinders him for complete happiness. Here. And so, in principle, it gets up. Well, maybe it would be more interesting to cut with a hand saw. Due to the fact that there is a little bit of it, some pieces here, they interfere with life in principle. Well, this is it. That's the gainer. I could have had a beer like that and sawed it off. You see, it has almost become. A little more here, some plastic went sideways for some reason. Here. For some reason, he doesn't get up. Well, that's it, that's how it will be. Somewhere like that. Well, it's worth it, it's not worth it, I don't know. You watch, you think. It would be possible to cut off this equally, honestly. Here. It is possible that it makes sense to take a little walk on the sanding and make up for it. It will reduce the height. A little bit of this whole device. There's a little something in the way here. So, well, the question of shoulder straps, you know, there will be, of course. If you glue it on dichlorite like this, then in the end. Well, what are the disadvantages? Of course, it will not be collapsible. It seems that it is going to be wrong, but I know that it will be right. The slope goes in one direction. That's it. Well, that's how it turns out. That's it. You can try to melt a couple of pieces of plastic where the gate is. Not that it's like that. Then seal up these cracks. That is, I do not know how much it will be needed. I'll leave a couple of pieces, the rest is all scrap. But for now, this is how I'm going to look for batteries. So, I continue to make a mess. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What 21 looks like on KB assembled. Here. All these interesting places. At the same time, the battery will have a maximum of 4 and 2 by 3, that is, you need to go to the internet to look at it. Maybe you need to do 16 according to the scheme, that is 4 by 4, or that is 21 is 4 by 5. You can do it from 4 to 5, or from 3 to 7. I'm not exactly sure. That's what I have to choose now. After that, I have to cook them 7 pieces at a time, so give them separators. Here, so that they do not shorten their hulls. The place here is not very big, so the separator will most likely be its titanium film or just reinforced tape. I hope it's enough. Well, for now, I will do it without any BMSV. I'll just connect it to the contacts here, as it is. Here. Well, and this thing here will also need to be glued for complete happiness, so to speak. Here in principle, again, you see this. Here you can cut out everything in theory, and dump it out. And here you can already do this lid here. It will be 2 grams lighter. This is for the field, not for the field conditionals. Well, you see here in principle, you can put the 8th row. As soon as where to BMSkit is already a big question. Because that's how to cut off this thing like this. Well, I still don't have just the 8th row. That is, in principle, 24 batteries are climbing here. That's it. Because for some reason, the Chinese are doing under 15, as far as I understand these buildings. Well, maybe I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. You see, that is, here is 1 row of 8 batteries, the second row of 8 batteries. I'm standing. That is, 3 by 8 can be done. That is, 8 batteries of 2 amperes is already 16 ampere-hours will be. That is, 4, 2 and 6, it will be 20 ampere-hours. That is, the battery is not so weak. It will come out 3 times somewhere. Even from these crappy batteries. But here I have quite a bad one here. This is from Makita, this is from the old one. That is, I raked. By the way, this is a good one I've been ripping off here. Well, these 2 and 0, 1 and 9, something like that. That is, they are less than 2 here, so this is. It will be necessary to combine them somehow. Here. These I do not know at all, they can be one with something. Well, since they will be in parallel, they will somehow be balanced. I will try to recruit them somehow into groups more or less. Now it will be necessary to wipe so much, and try to cook them 3 by 7 in groups so that they are already ready. So we continue. I shot on the internet in Chinese 3 by 7, there they have a set. I don't know if it's true. We will try to portray it somehow. Here I do not know how to divide them into 3 groups. Well, I'll try. That's how I'm going to try to divide them. That's a big task, by the way. Divide equally, without having appliances. So, especially the battery rolling into the side. There she is. Let's try to do this. Somehow, now I'm going to put everything on the table. I have measuring instruments, of course, impedations, but, gentlemen, this is already the beginning of higher mathematics. I don't do it for those who. The video is for those who want extreme. This one is the extremum of this optimality function to find. Well, in principle it is possible. These are very good batteries. I don't remember that. Therefore, this is the situation that will happen now. In principle, they are all in short, more or less the same nastiness, these batteries. Here. The main thing here is not to confuse a plus with a minus. Everything else is here. Here I think more or less somehow they will not fit into groups in the same way. These are brand new batteries. Well, how are they brand new? What are the Chinese doing? They're repacking them, you know. Here they also take from the old electric cars. Here. Well, that's how it turns out somewhere. That is, here again, here, so that 2 of these need to be done. There are 2 I do not know. So that there are 2 green ones here, what will happen like this? Yes, they're coming out, you see. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3. It's kind of superfluous. 8. Well, somewhere like this, I distributed it. I don't know. Here it would be necessary to have such a clamp on purpose, right? If that's what you're doing. Serial this one. Serial this activity. Here. I'm hers. I don't do it serially. I do it a little bit. Therefore, just like that, to the best of my ability. You see, here they are also these batteries with a baby under the lantern. I do not know I will ever need them well. Well, you need a navel, you can always solder it so that you understand survival. That is, I'm going to cook them 6 at a time initially. Then we'll watch. So, I'm going for my welding. So, my welding is wonderful, and for these batteries, for this type, it's a kick Kasem Pro on it's really good. That is. So, I turn it on, let's see what we have there. Here there are 4/8 of a volt. So you need to look at the welding parameters here. To be somewhere 15 with a break of 10 milliseconds. Welding works. Here. Well, I need to take the glasses to see. Unfortunately, I can't see very well. If you can call me. Zadnatit, it all goes to me for treatment. But this is not a joke, it's also unpleasant, but I have to ask the Lord, unfortunately. I have a tape like this. This is 015. Here. Well, I'm probably going to cook this whole thing. A little bit, you need to give a reserve here for 1 kb to be. And that's how to cut, that is. I will cut according to the welding measure. The people say that it is necessary to wipe this whole thing. But of course, I agree. I need to wipe, but I'm not going to wipe anything. As always, I don't wipe anything. They say that you can still use a magnet. I'm going to try to take a magnet now, by the way, take a magnet. Will it come out? That's it, these are the magnets I have. Yes, it's holding up, guys, it's holding up. It's a holiday. These magnets need to be magnetized. Yes, absolutely right. Thank you, kind man, who said about the magnets. Look at how lovely it is. That is, I put magnets here and here. These are neodymium magnets. There are a lot of them here in the group. I once wanted to do something on them. Here, unfortunately, I don't really see what's here. What parameters? I have to restart the shooting again, go get some kind of magnifying glass to look at it. So, I took a magnifying glass. So what do we have? 13, and a break of 20 milliseconds. Well, in principle it's fine. I don't even know, I won't measure, change these parameters. That's how I'm going to cook. So, what's good about welding? It has a very high discharge current of these its nesters. Here. And what's wrong with the fact that I can't see anything, what I'm welding? So let's try it. This is the first time I'm playing with these magnets now. Well, it's very interesting, I'll tell you. I think this is one of the best methods with magnets fixing it. It's just brilliant. I don't know why it's magnetic. Zinc alloy, it seems. It looks like it's so zinc, you know. That's it, there is one row. So, class. So, now we have advantages here. Again, the pros are cutting the ribbon. Again with a margin. A little bit more stock is needed than to give a minus. Look, it's right there in principle. That's it, but nothing explodes. This is already good. Yeah, the pros are not as well fixed as the cons. That's it. There would be more rings to give under the bottom, you know, for insulation. I don't have these rings. Well, it's okay to give rings so that you understand. That is, I do it. Remember this, I always do horror and abnormal, and cheaper. There are devils somehow. So here's where I'm doing tin right now. I weld myself to these batteries, not to the platforms. These need special batteries to be used with normal platforms. Oh, the miracle of magnetism does not want to be magnetic. Well, it felt like it was possible to give 15 milliseconds, to be honest. Like this. Well, these here, I do not know why I made the long ones. I scale for beauty. Well, it holds, it does not fall apart. Yeah, we still need a seventh. That's what I did it for. I did everything right. The main thing here is not to confuse the plus-minus paddles, believe me. So now let's try to magnetize it, to get it. I do not know how it will come out, but this is how it will come out. And if we make two groups. Look, if you do it like this, right? Here once, then here twice. Oh, holding up. It's holding up. All right. Yeah. Damn, you see it drives everything. Not convenient. It's convenient for me. The seventh thing this in is just tin. The harm should be more or less accurate, because that's how anyone, if they just don't fit a knife in this box, holy shit. There's something else soldered here. Oh my god. So that's how I brew. Well, thank God, somehow it didn't explode here, nothing is already good. So, I have this assembly here. What am I going to do now? And I'm probably hers. Oh, so don't ever do that. You'll only make it worse, but... well, I have no choice. Yes, I have to do it for the sake of science. For the sake of science, I have no choice. Well, you see, it gets up more or less, that is. So it means these tails here, they will be useful for charging. I put this battery on charge. So, I'll put it on. I'm going to show you my charger now. So, I continue shooting. Now I'm going to connect this plus to plus, minus to minus, and we will charge, try something, and at the same time measure the capacity. So that's what we have, 404 volts. You need to charge up to 4 and 2. The current can be supplied here, probably 5 amperes. 5 amps. And charge up to 4 and 2. 3. I'll put it on. Here. And it went to get infected. it can be seen that it is less than 5 amperes. That's what we have. Well, until it gets infected, I'll cook the next assembly. So we continue. Here it is charging, that's all. I'll put it somewhere carefully, so as not to blow up the whole workshop, preferably. And let's continue. The next 6 batteries are for welding. Here, it is desirable, as I have already said, that there would not be a plus with a minus. There will be fireworks. The fireworks will be real. I will definitely be asked in the comments what to do for those who do not have welding. But there are 2 options. A clear option and more soldering. Soldering. Is it possible to solder batteries? You see, if I had been a little smarter here once, I would have made it a little longer, it would have fit. And so, it doesn't fit that way. 7 pieces. Okay, let's continue about the mind. It means, what should those who are smart do? Who is smart, he buys this welding. Who is even more intelligent, he makes it himself. Who has no money and no opportunity? Unfortunately, it happens that we don't have the opportunity for a play. We often have this now, we have a war in Ukraine. So it is necessary to somehow get out of the situation. How to get out of the situation? Soldering. Is it possible to solder? You can solder. Of course, it is possible to solder batteries. Here, but how to solder it? First of all, it's a little silly to solder batteries with acid. There is a positive contact. Minus is possible, but plus they will flow there, and you will have a problem. Do you understand? So what is the main thing in soldering? In soldering, the main thing. Oh, don't overdo it. Do not overheat the battery. Why? God will explode. Here. And I think there are a lot of videos in all sorts of YouTube, how these batteries explode. I think you will find them. I don't want to repeat them. I think it's stupid to destroy technical things. Someone tried, worked, someone takes and shoots these stupid videos about destruction. But that's idiotic. Not even idiocy, nonsense, I would say. There is the processing of matter into some kind of chaos. Here. I don't want to do this nonsense, but look a little bit, so I have to do it. It's 1 if I press it, I'll try. 1 is also normal to squeeze with a magnet. That's how it is all. Oh, somehow it's all so terrible at me. They would have to stand flat, it stands quite unevenly. For some reason, these batteries are terribly expensive. We will somehow try to equalize them in the process. Well, it doesn't explode already well, as they say. So, align a little bit. There are stands of other models. Well, it occurred to me. You can make some sockets with a diameter of 16, so that it will be inserted there. Then it will be more interesting to turn out somehow. Maybe even more smoothly. Well, I saw it that way. See, that's how I'm going to do it. That's how I suffer now. So, the main thing here is not to confuse the polar sporvanet. It's not for nothing that I say. Of course, I managed to undermine the whole thing, as you understand. I could. So, I also sometimes forget to turn on the video recording. And here there's nothing worth it at all, plus I'm welding it, it's just fun, all the batteries don't want to stand. That's it. Physics. That's good, high will be. It appears here is the battery assembly. Oh, she's a cholera, it's a donkey assembly. It came out crooked for me. That's what you can't do. It comes out as it comes out. The assembly is crooked. Here it is too, now I will put it on charge after all this. Here. Everyone. And I'm making the last assembly of 7 pieces. Here, it's hard to do something here. I don't have much space in my workshop, despite everything. So it turns out that for me now the problem is even to clean up in the workshop to find something, that is. You have the opportunity to make money from me. I need to spend $170 a month on operations. Unfortunately, it is difficult for me to find this money during the war. That's it. Very hard. Something fell to the floor. So, I say further. Zadnatit. And it is clear that I would not have been able to do all of these. This is for one eye, and I need 2 of them. Therefore, we have expensive operations in Ukraine, very expensive. The so-called free medicine. They only do tests for free, and now doctors are waving like sick people on their heads, naturally. Here they are doing these tests for their money. That's the impression I get. Because any operation is our analysis first, evidence. They're all afraid of something. I do not know what corruption charges are now. And the opera house. Welded, not welded. Well, it will have to be redone, probably. Or won't you have to? We look. No, you don't have to. So, I cooked as Zakoritz. This. I would like to do technical, and I do a little bit. Practically pornographic. Here. We continue. Well, you see the batteries, some are different. Some soldered at the end, some new, some with an old screwdriver, some with a laptop, with a power supply. With this battery to the stats. In short, whatever you want. By the way, I have to say, I'm on AliExpress right now. I do not recommend taking any batteries. AliExpress started a little bit with batteries that's lying miracles. It is better to take it on Enken, or buy locally here. But locally too, they cheat in Ukraine, as far as I understand. You even ask sometimes to show the capacity, they show it all. Just not the capacitance, they show the impedance. That is, you see that a person is swimming. Here. This seller. Why do you think you're doing this, dear comrade? If I have a wish, I will insert it. Maybe I'll find a screenshot from Facebook, I asked that. Well, I'm asking a video too. Maybe I'll find someone who asked, I'll see and put it up. I'll insert it. I don't want to touch people on purpose either, they are all tense here right now. Some are busy surviving at the expense of expensive sell bullshit. Oh, I'm not going to judge anyone. The devil knows where the plus is, where the minus is. This is obviously a plus. I don't know, now we'll find out how short it will be. Yeah. That's the opposite. That's it. Surprisingly, this is a plus. The example started to burn. Amazing. That's what I was talking about. It is necessary to measure them always. So it's a minus and there's a plus, right? Yes, that's a plus. It's amazing, but you can't say that it's a plus, but it's a plus nonetheless. This is a minus. Oh damn, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, there. You see, what's the matter here is a split shell, and therefore, it is necessary to weld it carefully like this, where there is this shell. Oh my God! What you have to do. Therefore, the rings are very important, to lay them, and it is engaged in insulation. And then you see, the clip came out, because it was all broken up. Long-term use. Or I was just filming here, it's all so interesting. Well, here it is. You have just seen what the battery short circuit looks like. At himself. Thank God, not all 7 pieces. All 7 pieces are much more fun to close, believe me. So, what did I do? In the off view. And it doesn't work when turned off. All right. So we look at what we have with the welding voltage. It was plugged in, so 5 and 2 volts. I keep taking it to the storage place. I have 3 battery packs. I will charge all 3 of them. Here. After that, I will assemble 2 as they become into this squirrel. You can do it like this, but by the way, with an offset when it will be. A little bit of space here under the BM screw will even remain. You can assemble them like this. Then, there will be a little place for a BM screw, but a lot. Well, plus or minus, it is clear that it will need to be observed, and we need to see that there is a plus here. So that, roughly speaking, there is a plus here. That is, like this, plus he, so that he goes short here. Here is a minus, there will be a plus. And there will be a wiring from this last group here from below. Well, that's it. So I'm leaving this case for now. Now my battery is charging. There are 2 and 6 amperes there. When it is charged, I will put the following ones on charge. That is, I don't have a BM ski right now. I want to do how to charge them all completely. Do you understand? And then connect. That's it. Such a plan. So, a little bit, I turned on my head, and put it here. I put it here. I put on 4.2 volts. Put it on. Here. 4.2 volts cutoff. 412. I'm turning on 4 and 2 now. You see, it's like less than 5 amperes due to the internal resistance of the battery, the so-called impedance. Well, I'm waiting until it drops to 0 charging current. I'll charge the next one. These batteries are lying on top. I don't seem to be overdoing it, thank God. Well, let's see. So, while the batteries are charging, I glued the top cover with dichloride. Just lubricated along its entire height, between, and clamped with 2 clamps. I think that's quite enough. Something is cracking. The main thing is not to overdo it with the clamps. It was soldered in general very easily. Here. Brown plus, blue minus. Well, somewhere like that. The wire is half a piece, is it enough? Well, this battery, it discharges somewhere from 7 to 15 amperes. In principle, this wiring is enough to conduct 15 amperes. Well, how can I do it? It is possible to double the wire that will be closer. Oh, I say, the one that is closer single, the one that is closer, the one that is further double. That is, fold it twice like this. And you can leave it like that. I don't think there's much of a huge difference. Moreover, this is done for science, for art. Well, one more task, it will need to isolate this case additionally. I have a Vapson film somewhere, I will do it to her. Here. Well, after charging it all. Now the first unit, it is charged with a drain of 0.86 amperes practically. When it gets to 100 milliamps there, I'll put the next one. But for now, like this. So the batteries were recharged. Well, now you need to precisely align their potentials before connecting. The best way to equalize the potential is to solder them in parallel. Leave it for a while. It will be all very smooth to the point of impossibility, so to speak, exactly. It's very easy to solder these nickel tapes, it's a matter of a couple of seconds. Here, there is nothing complicated. Of course, you need to solder carefully, and not confuse the plus with the minus is desirable. I soldered one side, turned it over, and soldered the other. After that, the assembly can be fully charged again. You can leave it for a couple of hours. There is no difference because the potentials will converge. It will be possible to use. If we take on faith that their resistance is approximately the same, well, they pedance more precisely. Well, in principle, you can use this whole thing somehow. So, well, let's see how true my hypothesis is. Soldered everything. 1. The second. So, plus to plus, minus to minus, and I put it on the charger. So this is a plus, and this is a minus for general charging. So, there are now for as many as 24 volts already. Yeah, it's on. It's now for 17. So, I'm showing you. So, here's what we have. 4 and 17. I'm going to put a cutoff of 4 and 21. And I'll put it on charge so that it gets infected for a few hours. Here. While the evening walk will be, and let it recharge. Then, I will disassemble and assemble it into 3 consecutive blocks. So, well, it's been a while. It gave 29, I see 6 ampere-hours somewhere for this whole assembly of 4 and 19 volts. Well, you can say it's all loaded. Here. So now I'm going to solder it all and continue the assembly. So that's what we have. It all needs to be sorted out. Now the soldering iron will heat up, and you need to collect it all in a pile. So, 1. That is, now all potentials are the same. There is a hope that she will continue to do so for some time. We'll see how it will be. So now how is it going? Well, you need to flip the assembly to like this. So, well, depending on what there is plus or minus, we will output it to the top. Collecting is a business. That is so. You can wrap it with tape. I prefer to take a tape like this, I have it, and insulate this case. Okay, God forbid I didn't make my way to the hull. This will be the middle part, so I'm only isolating it in fact. Lavson holds the breakdown well with an electric current. That is, you cannot strain too much that he will miss. That's it. That is, it is well insulated, it can still give up another one with it so. And another top layer. Well, that's it. In other words, there is already more isolated than necessary. So, it's like a breakdown. You can see what happens when the battery is shorted. If the batteries are shorted, a mess occurs. You see, the battery exploded. I also got my finger burned off. It's beautiful, isn't it? Here. Now you definitely have to redo it all. Is it beautiful? Beautiful? I just pulled the film, Lozanova. Well, what will you do? What happened? The battery closed here, this one, and the tape began to burn. Do you see the consequences? The consequences are good. So now I'm sorting this case out carefully. Well, the film is going to be thrown out. Here. Well, let's see what we can do. Here we need to sort it out. That's it. You see, this battery closes on itself here. Everything is burning here. The fun is shorter. Take a bite out of this whole thing. You need to give the washers here normally now. And cook this piece over again. Then everything will be okay. Well, this is a demonstration of why you need to be extremely careful with the battery. Such. I'm going to look for the puck. Actually, one puck was lying on my desk. Here it can be put, here will be. Here. And now it will be necessary to look for the puck, probably. Since she disappeared here, most likely. So let's try to cook it again. I don't know what will come of it. That's why something better will come out now with this build. So, well, it is clear that it was necessary to isolate this tape initially. Well, now I'll try to cook this thing. See, it's going to wobble all the time. It's going to be a very problematic job now, actually. I would say a very problematic job. So I guess I'm going to weld it like this somewhere right here at the beginning, and then they will reach the end. And I'll try to magnetize. It's in the middle. With a magnet, maybe it will come out, by the way. I think it's a good demonstration of what batteries are and why you need to be very careful with them. Well, with a puck like that, it won't break through already. Here's the puck, it's actually from Makita. Here's a little bit, I gave this case a little bit with a wave, it turns out. It's actually not bad. It may not reach the end of the tape. In short, it's fun here. A fun build turns out. Well, you see how quickly it lights up in 5 seconds. The temperature there is also sufficient to burn and melt. A little bit is not enough now of all this to cook normally. Aye. That's it. That's why we need these washers. You see, it's a silicone washer. It protects against such a phenomenon as burnout. How does it protect? It protects you until you start applying mechanical forces. Oh, this is terrible for you. Well, there is a full-blown film. You can probably use it a little bit. That's it somewhere. I you her as much as possible. That is, I'll put it on the middle part, and then I'll glue it a little bit. That's how it is somehow. So, it may not be a little neat, but it is more reliable. I see. You see that when assembling the rings, you need to put good silicone rings. Yes, you will have a clean spokey. Note that this assembly was in one row, and not in 2 or 3, as I often did. So now it is necessary. So, minus up, we connect, there is a minus with a plus. That's why I bite off the pieces completely. A small piece of this whole ribbon. By the way, she bites off surprisingly well. As it turned out. You can do it in the middle, of course. Like this, for example. That is, it is possible that I will do this on this silicone washer. That is, because there is good insulation just for all of this. Here. So, I'll try to fix it somehow like this. Well, everything is on the weight, but it is going to be in fact. Why did you take the welding machine away from here? So, I turn on the welding and go ahead. And I collect everything in a heap. Well, in short, an ugly assembly turns out. So terrible, I would say. She's awful. Horrid, ugly, nightmarish. And incorrectly made yet. But you see how to do it right after all this mess that I perform. Here. Mind you, I'm not even making miracles here on purpose, they come out on their own. If I had made a mess here on purpose, the whole house would have burned down after that. That's it. That's it. Well, what do we have? Minus here. Here. You can give another piece of this tape. In fact, nothing will happen. There's another piece. Cut and attach. Somewhere here. Here too, there is a silicone ring. It remains to be seen. Or it seems to me that silicone. Well, that's how I'll do it, then I'll eat too much here. I'll weld it on the edge. So, 1. And there's some kind of. So, it's already 4 to 9 volts. Well, what we have is a connection, we have. That is, how minus goes to plus, here. Now you need to connect this from below plus to minus so that it goes. That is what we have. That's how the batteries connect. It turns out that the minus goes here, 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 and the bottom plus. That is, it is necessary to guess not here from below. See, here it means welding in the far should be far from us. So, we take 2 pieces of this tape and cook somewhere like this. That's how you can. The main thing is not to waste this case. It's bad that the batteries here are of such terrible quality that this insulation is falling apart. That is, they are not completely safe, of course, unfortunately. What to do? I'm not particularly sure that I'm going to use it. Somewhere this is all. Well, as for testing, it will suit me. So, there is. And I weld another piece of tape. I operated well, of course. So, everything failed somehow. It's all a miracle. So, somehow, somewhere. Well, what do we have? Here we have a common plus, and here we have a common minus. Here is the general minus. That is, it is desirable to arrange it so that it is the minimum distance. That is, plus here it is. Well, so that's how we lock it up somewhere. So the welding machine is not needed anymore. Now we attach all of this. I initially soldered here about this poltorashechku. Well, I guess I'll have to disassemble it into two. Into 2 parts. So that's it. Of course, this whole thing should be assembled normally through the BM-SKU. Well, plus, in any case, even with a BM, it will come out like this. That is, there is no need to bother too much. So this plus turns out to be. And the minus can be left long. Here. Because if the minus goes to the BM-SKU, it should be long. Here. That is, in principle, you can leave it to solder with them so. We're getting drunk? So. We're getting discouraged. Somewhere here. Here the current will be up to 7 amperes, that is, in fact, if it is put somewhere in the uninterruptible power supply. That is, it is desirable to solder a little more widely like this. At no point like this can you see soldered over the area, so to speak. Then there will be a more or less normal connection. So, well, the lower part needs to be soldered in the opposite direction. There are already some pratically here, I'm going there and Part2. So, that's how it will come out. It will come out through the battery, and everything turns out one way or the other from below, but it doesn't matter. Now you can collect more or less. Especially I will not collect this case tightly because, well, how? Here, another BMSCO will go according to the idea. A little bit. I'm going to insulate this case from above with a couple of layers, just in case it's somewhere like this. Somewhere so it will turn out. Here. Well. I'll try it on a little bit. Well, it's fine. It's kind of coming out. Here. So let's see what we get in terms of voltage. Now there should be a way out here, like 12 and 54 hundredths. That is, 4/2 by 3 is 12 and 6. Yes. And here it's 1254. Well, now I'm not going to collect it completely. I'll just roll it off with masking tape. Here. Well, I'll wait until the BMS arrives. I would like to put the BMS on the side like this, but you see, it somehow doesn't move all that much. But there is a hope that the BMS will climb into the side here. Well, then most likely these plastic pieces interfere. It will be necessary to maybe file them a little bit so that she moves better. That's basically how it looks like. That is, it is now standing. Well, here you can see these corners that held the cells, they interfere. I'll take it with masking tape while I glue it. So, the masking tape turned out to be a long way to go. Well, I usually took a tape and fixed everything with ordinary tape. Here. Well, for a while. To take all sorts of measurements. Here. In principle, even in this form, the battery can be operated to begin, I think. So, you're delaying it. BMS flooring, this will guarantee that everything will not explode one day when you recharge it. That's it. Well, I have a preliminary assembly. Well, first of all, we can say that it came out much easier. So specifically, it is easier. It feels lighter. So, now I'm putting her on debauchery. On his depraved typewriter. Here. And then I'll put it on charge again. So I'll probably do a few cycles. So give or take. So I show the typewriter. So I turn on the spark gap. So let's see what there is here. So you need to connect the battery first. That's what we have here. 5:44. He's showing something. Yeah, he's showing something wrong. 12. So it's off. I'll try to connect it. I turn it on, everything is fine. So that's how I put 7 amps. Yeah, I need to throw it off. Well, let's see what I get in this. In this version. Well, at least you see, it holds all the amperes. God willing. Holds. That is, 70 watts, here goes 77 watts at once. I don't know how much better it will come out. Batteries, unfortunately, are here. Well, it's not up to 10. It is possible, of course, up to 7.5 to break up this case, in fact. Here. The only thing that makes little sense is that it's 7.5 because he himself probably stops working about 10. If he puts it on the oops. Why at 7.5? Because 2.5, 3 times is 7.5. Therefore, it turns out that up to 10 volts, there will actually be a working capacity, and up to 7.5 second capacity. Well, the general one. That is why it will probably be right to measure up to 10 first, how many containers there are here. So, 10. After all, I'm going to measure up to 10 on 7 amperes. Here. And then I will measure up to 7.5, the total capacity of this battery. Well, to have a concept. So, there was a discharge of up to 10 volts. Here you see 8 whole and 8/10 of an ampere-hour turned out. Now it appears that I will conduct a discharge now up to 7.5 volts with the summation of the results. That is, I will not reset these 8 and 8 ampere-hours, and I will get the total capacity of this battery assembly. After that, I will charge and discharge again. To know, well, the exact meaning. That's what happens. Here, it's interesting just. That's it. Well, not bad enough. 8 and 8. It turns out, there's 1 and 3, yes. Each of the 7 batteries has a capacity. Well, that's partly to do with it. Well, not bad at all. 4 used low-quality batteries. As you can see, this is more than the capacity of the same new lead battery. Well, these are the results for yourself. But in principle, you can use this case. The discharge has ended. It can be seen that the total capacity of 10, as much as 3/10 of an ampere-hour was. Of these, 8 and 8 are working capacity. Well, not bad for what lay under your hands, under your feet. 4 Bushnell, and 4 defective batteries suck. I'm going to try to charge it again now, so I'll see how much it will be in the second cycle. But obviously it will be in the next video. I will continue testing this battery further, adding BMS there. In the meantime, good luck to you, and see you again on the channel.